What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Blitz Angle. My name is Ryan Lakeler. I'm here with Dan Loya. Dan, it was a late night of football last night for a lot of fans, except for guys on the West Coast. And
Uh,
if you're a real football guy and you woke up for work and you were tired because you watched football, you can tell your boss to just let you have one because you're watching ball last night and you watched two defenses go at it. And the Seahawks offense proved that they're a legit offense against a very good defense. We're going to start though with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Detroit Lions. Dan, the Baker Mayfield MVP talks might be taking a little bit of a pause after the performance that the Bucs offense had yesterday against a depleted Lions secondary. What were your thoughts on Lions versus Bucs yesterday?
yeah, I think the main takeaway is the defense stepped up. They took the Lions took over the identity of their head coach. Dan Campbell. It doesn't matter who's playing. He never feels sorry for himself. They're down two starting corners, two safeties, and they held the Tampa Bay Bucks to 9 points. Uh, it was just a tremendous performance by them. I mean, they're causing pressure on Baker Mayfield the entire game. I know Baker doesn't have he lost Mike Evans early in the game, and Ibuka's playing on one leg, but still, it was a fantastic performance, a tremendous bounce back game after Kansas City, and that's I'm just really glad they responded that way. It was a great to watch, and they stepped up. The defense stepped up, and I think. On the other side, on the offense, I thought, Jahmyr Gibbs was a key component of that victory as well.
Yeah, I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs went ballistic last night, and it's hard to argue against him and Bijan as the top two guys in the NFL right now with what they can do when the ball's getting in their hands. I mean, it's just special. Like when Jahmyr Gibbs touches the ball, you never know if it's going to be a 75-yard run. He's just so good when the ball gets in his hands, and he had over 200 total yards last night. Only had three
Yeah,
catches, but had 82 yards receiving as well. Like it just completely game changes what the Lions can do offensively. And I didn't think Jared Goff played particularly well last night. He struggled to pick up pressure from Todd Bowles, and he also threw a pretty bad interception as well. But that doesn't really matter when you have a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs have the game that he did. I mean, Montgomery, 13 of 21, but Gibbs was 17 for 136. Basically, him and Amon-Ra St. Brown said, over my dead body against the Tampa Bay
mm,
Buccaneers. And that's probably why the offense only finished with 24 points is because Goff didn't play his best. Obviously, the other guys
no,
weren't as great as Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs were in this one. On the Bucs side of it, man, Baker Mayfield struggled in this one. It was overthrow, 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 overthrow. And Tez Johnson looked really good. He was open a ton. Sterling Shepard looked fine. Like it feels like the Buccaneers can plug and play wide receivers almost better than anybody. And it's a credit to Baker Mayfield, but it's also credit to like Josh Grizzard and like the offense coordinators that have come through Tampa Bay is that they really know how to develop wide receivers there. So I thought they had a good game plan. They definitely had opportunities for guys open, but there was also no ground game in this one. It's been a common theme
yeah,
for the
okay,
Bucs this year is that they have not been able to run the ball that well. And Rashad White, 10 of 38 in this one. Obviously, if Baker Mayfield's not playing his best football and he was incredibly inaccurate yesterday, this is what you're going to get is a 9-point performance against a secondary, rolling out guys off the streets with three starters injured and Brian Branch out. So I thought the Lions defense played incredibly well. They looked like they were pretty pissed off coming off of a loss
yeah,
last week, which was good to see them rebound for sure. But I think the interesting part about the Bucs going forward, Dan, is that Mike Evans is now out for the season, right? Baker Mayfield through 6 weeks was playing hero ball to win games for this team. Are you a little bit concerned that they can meet the levels that they did to start the season at the end of the season when it matters most?
no, they're gonna be okay. Just like you said, they had trouble running the ball. I was gonna mention that as well. 11 for 42 as a team, 3.8 average. When you're one dimensional, it's hard to win in this league, and it's tough to win in this league too when your quarterback's throwing 50 times a game. So it's just chalk it up as a tough road loss. You're not going to play perfect every game. Detroit's a tough place to play, and as we all know, the Lions are one of the better teams in the league. So I think the Bucks will bounce back. It's unfortunate with Mike Evans. I believe he's going to be out for the year now with a collarbone.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, they know how to scout. They have depth. They have a good GM. They have a good team, so that they're gonna bounce back, and I'm not worried about the Buccaneers. I just think, the Lions, were ready to go on Monday, and they were the better team on Monday night.
Yeah, and I think the biggest concern for me is their defense. I think the Bucks offense will be just fine, but like seems like the Bucks defense is they allow a ton of yards every week, right? But they find a way to make key plays in key situations, and that's not necessarily the best way to win games consistently long term, especially against teams like the Lions. Like when you're going to play the Eagles, who they lost to earlier this year, like relying on those key plays in those key situations against really good teams is not necessarily the best formula. They don't have the best high end talent on that defensive side of the ball. And I wouldn't be surprised if they try to make a trade to go get a defender before the
Yeah, they
deadline
could.
because they desperately need some help. What's favorable though for them is, they go Saints, Patriots, Bills, Rams. That's a tougher stretch, but then you get Cardinals, Saints, Falcons, Panthers, Dolphins, and Panthers to close the season. There's a real chance this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team still has a fighting chance of that one seed if they're able to take a game from like the Bills, for example, or the Rams win a big game like that, which is definitely not out of the question. While this team did struggle, I do think they'll be okay. Interested to
Yeah.
see Bucky Irving coming back, how much that helps that run game going forward. But Detroit, Dan, this was a big win for them. And, it really feels like in the NFC side of things is we don't really know who that best team is right now. What are your thoughts on them going forward?
Yeah, I like Detroit. Uh, like I said, they bounced back off a tough loss against the Chiefs, who've been rolling these past couple weeks. So, like I said, they take over the identity of the head coach, and he never feels sorry for himself. He bites kneecaps, and I mean, I take notes when I watch these games, and I put, like, the defense is flying. I wrote that multiple times. They're just I don't know, they were on something because they fed off that crowd, and they
Smelling
just looked
salts.
awesome. Yeah, smelling sucks. Bring your own smelling salts. Uh, yeah, I really like this team, and then once, it's kind of, how the Lions wanna play, like, once they get a lead and they were up at one point, I forget it was like 14-13 or 14-6, and then it was like, okay, like this is how they want to play. They want to play from ahead on the scoreboard. They want to run the ball, play action, and then that's why you see Gibbs give whenever they need to spark, they give Gibbs the ball, and he was just electric. So yeah, I really like this team. It doesn't matter who's playing; you can never count them out. They proved that last year, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the NFC.
Yeah, and I'm circling the November 16th matchup on my calendar. It's the Lions in Philadelphia for Sunday Night Football, and it looks like we'll be
Oh man,
seeing a healthier version of the Lions team, potentially getting some of their cornerbacks back. So I think that with Detroit, like winning this game against Tampa Bay is huge in terms of seeding. Beating
yep, it is.
Philadelphia in that game is going to be even bigger. Like there's a legit chance like Lions, Bucks, and Eagles, right? And maybe even one of the NFC West teams, whoever comes out of that dogfight after, going through that division. These big games, like the win over the Bucks is massive for the Lions and seeding. And obviously the Eagles beating the Bucks earlier in the season, massive for seeding as well. So the Bucks not looking great for that one seed, I guess, but for Eagles Lions, that game's going to be massive. And I think honestly, the Lions should be favored in that matchup. I saw a stat offensive net success rating. Guess who had the worst one among winning teams last week?
I'm assuming the Eagles.
The Eagles. The Vikings thoroughly outplayed the Eagles according to that metric. And
What else
while they
is
did
new?
have while Jalen Hurts had a perfect passer rating, he hit 3 deep balls. I mean, we talked about this yesterday. It's like he hit all those deep shots, right? But outside of those 3 deep shots, it was the same old Eagles offense we've seen throughout the season. So my hesitations are still there with the Eagles, and I think the Lions are truly the best team in the NFC right now. I mean, the way they
Yeah,
can run the ball, Jared Goff is just really good at the role he plays within this offense. I don't think he's a player that elevates a team as much as a guy like Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, those type of guys, but he plays great within this system, and he's one of the more accurate quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's always going to give them a chance. Now, the biggest thing is they face a team that can neutralize Gibbs, kind of like the Chiefs did 2 weeks ago. What's going to happen then, right? That
yeah,
is
it's the
my biggest
blueprint.
concern from them. I do think that they'll be just fine. I mean, like looking at the rest of their schedule, they have tougher games mixed in there, but it's not overly hard. Should be able to secure division potentially November 27th against the Packers if they're able to sweep that series. So with Detroit, everything's looking up. Should be in
Yeah,
strong competition for the one seed, getting a bye, and then let's see if they can finally do it in the playoffs.
yeah. Well, real quick, I wanted to ask you: do you think Detroit should be favored? Because currently they're not favored to win their own division right now. The Green Bay's
Green
ahead
Bay
of them,
is.
and I think. Yeah, Green Bay's favorites
Yeah.
right now. Do you think
Yeah,
that will
they're
flip?
they're a significantly better team than Green Bay right now. I know they lost to Green Bay,
I agree.
earlier this year, but they're a significantly better team. Jordan Love is not a consistent quarterback right now, and everybody be like, "Oh, he's one of the best quarterbacks in EPA." Well, yeah, his coach schemes open wide open receivers like no other down the field. Like Jordan Love is not playing good right now, and if he is going to continue to be inconsistent like this, I am worried about this team. And their defense, I think, is good, but there's ways that good offenses can exploit them. Obviously, the Lions in week 1 didn't know what to expect with Parsons, but if you're able to get the ball out quick and target these corners in one-on-one space
Yeah,
and
that's
make
what we
them
can
like there's a way to beat the Packers defense. And I do think the Packers are going to be a playoff team. I don't see them winning the division. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I'm with you right now. I mean, as long as the Lions keep playing like that, they're gonna be tough to beat. And the blueprint is I guess for a couple years, like the way I see it is you got to jump on the Lions to beat them and make them play from behind. But once like they get a two-score lead, it's pretty much over. They can control the clock with that offensive line, and they got two really good running backs. So it's really hard to get a lead on the Lions because they always go for it, and, I really don't agree with how they went for it last night either. I put that in my notes. It was like 7-0,
Yeah.
and they shoulda took the points because their defense was playing so well, but that's just who they are, and that's how they play, so they live and die by going for it on 4th down, so we'll see what happens, but yeah, right now, to me, I think the Lions should be favored for, the NFC North.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Let's get to the nightcap game. The Texans offense continued to sputter last night. Their defense had to provide a third of their points, but they only lost by 8. The Seahawks offense, on the other hand,
Yeah.
though, Dan, that's working very well. And I know Sam Darnold didn't pop off on the box score by any means. He struggled in the second half, right? But the first half, this offense looked electric. And Zach Charbonnet had a pretty solid day on the ground as well. What were your thoughts on the Seahawks today or last night?
Yeah, I thought, it kinda played out how we all expected. It was just a tough defensive game. I mean, I put at the top, I'm gonna be sore like, I'm sore watching this game because they were beating the heck out of each other. Both defenses are awesome. They're physical. It's just one of those games, like a black and blue game, and, it was some hard hitting football last night. Just my main takeaway for the Seahawks offense was, they have a superstar wide receiver, JSN. He
Yep.
had another great game. He adds to his resume. He went for 8 for 123 and 1 touchdown. Whenever Sam Darnold needed a play, he looked to the second-year pro out of Ohio State. So that was my main takeaway is just like when you play one of these tough defenses, you're playing against elite corners like the Texans have. You need your playmakers to step up, and he did. So I was really impressed by that. And I mean, this game could have gone either way because if the Texans somehow jumped on the Seattle would have had a tough time too as well moving the ball, I think. So I mean, Houston's defense played their butt off last night. They had what? How many? One second. I thought I wrote this down, but I mean, Seattle was 2 for 14 on 3rd down. They sacked Sam Darnold twice, 1 interception, 1
Yep.
fumble. So Houston, I mean, and they had that touchdown too. That was a big thing that kept them in the game. So if they got one more stop, the CJ Stroud and company would have had a chance to tie the game with under 2 minutes, but they couldn't get it done. Just yeah, I thought both teams played really well. It was a defensive game, and I was really impressed with JSN.
Yeah, JSN's a dog. Like he's officially arrived. We've known this. Like he is taking over games. He's their main option when they need it. And
Yeah,
you know, that's kind of the weirdest part about it though with the Seahawks for me is I think that their defense is really good, right? Their pass rush is very good. Their secondary when healthy is really good. Like they have a really good defense altogether. Mike McDonald has completely reshaped that unit to exactly how it was in Baltimore, and that's why they're having a lot of success right now. Like I think that with the other side of it offensively, if you are able to slow down JSN, I think this team is not a good offensive team. You look at their production outside of JSN this year in the passing game, it's been basically non-existent. And, we saw in the second half, JSN had 80 receiving yards in the first half. In the second half, obviously 50 is not bad
yeah,
at all, but it wasn't the same type of production. This offense was just not nearly as consistent. And I think with the Seahawks, I like what Clint Kubiak has done. also have my concerns. I think that they are going to flash very good against average to below average teams on the defensive side of the ball, but when they face a better defense, kind of like they did last night, right? The turnovers, the fumbles, the stalled out drives, the missed opportunities, like this offense does have its holes and I think its limitations. Like I think when they play the Rams, like I'm looking right now, they got it in 3 weeks. So November 16th, man, that's going to be a good week of football. But uh
Hmm.
there is going to be a lot of tests for this team to where this offense needs to rely on Cooper Cup, AJ Barner, right? The running game. Like it is going to have to find those ways to win instead of completely solely relying on JSN to move the sticks every single time to win those ball games. And I think at the defense too, I want to look real quick. Their defense this year has only allowed over 20 points twice the entire year. Right? That makes it really easy on the offensive side of the ball. When you face the Rams, right, they're going to see the Colts. They're going to see the 49ers once again, too, who they played really well against. Like their schedule isn't overly hard, but when they face those good teams and when it comes nut crunching time in the playoffs, this offense is going to have to make the plays. And I wonder if they're going to be in the market for another wide receiver. I think that could be interesting for them to go and improve that unit. But on Houston side of things, it's the same problems. They can't block, right? You can't block.
Yeah, yeah,
CJ Stroud doesn't get the ball out of his hands. He doesn't read a defense well because he's just not super confident right now. Nico Collins got concussed. He can miss. Like the Texans aren't winning their division this year. They're not making the playoffs. They got the 49ers next week. They got the Broncos after that.
yeah. Brutal
Then you
schedule.
got the Bills still, you got the Chiefs still, you got the Colts still, you got the Chargers, and then you got the Colts again. Like
Brutal.
that's brutal. And it's good for the Texans though, because they kind of need a good draft class and a better picking position to improve this roster. So Houston, elite defense. I hope they don't let go of D'Amico Ryans because he's a really good
No,
defensive coach. But
yeah, they won't.
they got so many holes on this team that it's hard to justify them being a playoff team this year. What are your thoughts on kind of both long-term pictures on both sides?
Yeah, it's the same story every week. I mean, we kind of knew about it going into the game, but I mean, we both thought that C.J. Stroud was going to have a tough time against this defense because it's just they were outmatched on the line of scrimmage. I pointed 2 points during the game. It was just Exhibit A in the third quarter with 3 minutes and 43 seconds left. It was a 3rd and 1, and they couldn't get 1 yard to get a first down.
Yep.
It's just they ran the ball twice and they could not get 1 yard, so that says all you need to know about that. Also, in the 4th quarter, the game's still in reach. It was 1st and goal on Seattle's own 3-yard line with 5 minutes and 47 seconds, okay? They couldn't get 3 yards. They couldn't score a touchdown. It was just they just kept continued, to lose the battle at the line of scrimmage. Seattle has some big dudes on defense, and Houston could not block those guys, and it was just it's when you see that, it's just like, there's nothing you can do. The Seattle imposed their
No.
will, and it's
Significantly
tough.
outmatched. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, it's if you're a fan of Houston, it's just like, wow, man,
It's
it stinks.
Groundhog
Like,
Day.
it's never yeah, it's never a good feeling, like, when it's like, wow, you got your butt kicked today, and it's tough for them, but that's just how they're built right now, and, they need to improve that offensive line. We knew it coming in. They didn't re I believe they kinda addressed it, but it still needs more work, and, yeah, they're gonna continue to lose because, they lose in the con they lose in the trenches each and every week, and that defense can only do so much. Houston's defense played their butt off. They also blocked the field goal. I failed to mention that. They kept them in this game. It could have been a blowout, but somehow it was only, however score was it 27-19? It was still a
Yeah.
one-score game. So, it was just incredible. So, that defense is elite, but unfortunately, that offense gets pushed around, and they're not gonna win too many games.
No, it's just looking very grim for them. So on the Seahawks side of things,
Yeah.
Dan, I kind of alluded to it. I think this team's going to have a good record at the end of the year. I think they're going to be in a good spot to compete in the playoffs defensively, but
Yeah,
I'm
I
a little
like
bit
their team.
worried about their offense. Are you kind of in a similar boat in terms of what they can do
No.
against like the Lions in general or like the Eagles, those top tier teams in the
Mhm.
NFC?
No, I think they're gonna be okay. Like I said, like, I'm looking at it, Houston, yeah, they didn't update this yet, but going into the game, Houston was only giving up 14.7 points, per game, and what,
Well, they also have
Sea
played the just not good teams.
who you talking about, Houston or, Seattle?
Yeah, Houston's got the Titans, Jaguars, the beat up Ravens, and 3 straight. They held the Bucks to 20 points, which was a good outing.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I think yeah, their defense is awesome right now, and,
they
like,
they are very
that's
good.
wh that's why, like, Seattle, they had that good first half, and then they couldn't put the game away. That's why the game was so close because Darnold was under pressure, he got strip sack, fumbled. Uh, no, Houston is a legit defense. They're legit, I don't care who they're playing, they're gonna be a problem for anybody. It's just their offense stinks, but no, I'm not worried about Seattle's offense. They signed Cooper Kupp, so if anything were to happen to JSN, Cooper Kupp would take over that role. I guess they could add depth, but I don't think they're gonna make like a splash trade. I can't see that happening. But they have two good running backs. Uh, they split time evenly, and then AJ Barner, has emerged as a weapon. So no, I'm not concerned, and I'm not concerned about the offense, and I really like Seattle's defense. I think that's how they're built. They're a defensive team with that head coach, and I just like this team, man. I think they're
So
special.
so if you had to pick one team in the division right now, are you picking the Seahawks over the Rams? Because
Yeah,
I don't
definitely.
think the
Yeah.
49ers are winning the division.
No, I'm taking Seattle all the way, man. There's something
Man,
about
you're
them.
riding the Seattle train right now.
I don't know. There's something about them. They play. I saw them week 1 against the Raiders in the preseason, and they kicked the Raiders. I'm gonna keep it blunt here. They kicked the Raiders' ass with their second string, and then I'm like, oh yeah, their head coach is from Baltimore, and they believe in big people, and it's just like
Believe in big
they have
people.
all. Yeah, it just they believe in big people at the defensive line. You saw it last night. Like I
Yeah.
said earlier, I like teams like that, and that's how you win. You win games because like there's a theory that later in the game, quick people get slower, but later in the game, big people don't become smaller. They're still big. They're still tough to push around when you're tired. So that's just like Baltimore's philosophy. Is It was New England's philosophy all those years, and that's why they're gonna be tough to beat, man. As long as Demarcus Lawrence is healthy, Leonard Williams, the Seattle's not even at full strength right now, and they're still winning. And they heading into the bye 5-2. I really like this team, man. I really do.
Listen, I think Seattle's good. I just don't know if I can pick them over the Rams. Like there's
Yeah, no, it's
the
fine. Yeah,
the Ram it's more of
they're
just
good
like the
too.
Rams can counter a lot of what teams can do defensively with a healthy Nakua, Adams, you have Kyron Williams there,
Yeah, they're good.
and Stafford, and they have a good defense. Like I think they're the 2 teams themselves. If you look at them, they're a lot closer than I think people think. And I think the biggest deciding factor for me when like deciding who I think's still going to win the division, it's just that the Rams have more t- more like experience winning in these big games over the past few seasons and being there. The Seahawks, they don't have a lot of guys that have had playoff experience on this roster. So I think when it comes to nut crunching time, I think the Seahawks are going to be a team that probably finishes, I want to say 12-5, maybe 11-6. I think that's a fair range to project them. Um, but I think the Rams will find a way to be kind of similar around there, but win those key divisional games down the stretch that they're going to need to ultimately take this division. So I think that NFC West race is definitely going to be something to watch. And we can't count out the 49ers too, that have been, right there, finding
Yeah,
a way to win with a bunch of injuries. They're still a really well coached team, and they're going to find a way to be right there with a very favorable schedule down the stretch. So should be a fascinating one here. Are you pulling up a stat right now?
yeah. No, I'm trying to look up because like the NFC West kind of reminds me of the NFC North last year. How like
Yeah.
didn't 3 teams make the playoffs last year from the NFC
3
North?
teams made the playoffs. The 3
Yeah,
teams will
so
make the playoffs in the West this year.
that's what I'm trying to say. Like both, like all these teams are gonna be good, and like it could come down to like I'm trying to look at their schedules, like see if it comes down to like the final week of the season, who's gonna get home field advantage. But right now, all those teams, it's West Coast bias because all those teams are good right now, and I don't think a lot of like the general media is giving them love. But
Yeah, I
there's
think
some
if
good
we're gonna
football
see
teams in this
regression
division.
from good teams this year, I feel like it's gonna be on the AFC side of things, right? Like teams that there's always
Yeah,
a few teams every year that start really strong and fade down the stretch. I think a lot of the NFC teams are legit. I think a lot of the teams at the top of the AFC right now might have some question marks about maintaining their success. So It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Appreciate you guys tuning into our Monday night reaction show. Drop a comment down below what your biggest takeaway was from these Monday night football games. And if you stayed up till 1 o'clock a.m. Eastern time to finish the Seahawks Texan games, you're officially a ball knower. Hit that subscribe button for more Blitz Sports Media content. And me and Dan will catch you guys next time.